Hey guys, Kendricks here again, back for another video. Today I wanted to talk about, and I mentioned this in the last video, but I actually want to talk about 10 shows that I watched during the pandemic. Now, I'll keep in mind on one little thing. One of the shows in this list, just one, I had already seen most of the seasons beforehand, but the last few seasons I hadn't seen anything of, and it wasn't until the pandemic hit that I finally finished the show. So that's actually the first one we're going to talk about, and that is Supernatural. Now, if you've never seen Supernatural, guys, the show just finished with 15 seasons. If you have never seen Supernatural, ever, do yourself a favor and go watch it because it is a really great show. If you're into stuff like horror, monsters, all that kind of awesome stuff. And there's a lot of comedy here and there. Now, I will say that this show, much like a lot of other shows on my list here today, are not for children and are more towards, I'd say you got to be at least like 11 or 12 before I would let any kids watch this show. Same with practically every other show on this list. But yeah, Supernatural. If you guys haven't seen it, go watch it. That's number one. Number two is actually one that I'm going to be honest. Talking about it is going to be weird because if you would have asked me 5 years ago if I'd have watched this show, I'd have told you no. It seems like the stupidest thing ever. And granted, sometimes it kind of is, but I think that during the pandemic, I needed a stupid show. Like a show that was still fun, but stupid, yet smart, but still you could tell that like there was a lot of heart in it. And that was, can't believe I'm going to say this on YouTube, but it was Glee. Like, okay, guys, I never watched Glee growing up. I thought it was just going to be some High School Musical stuff that I really didn't think I was going to like. Now, don't get me wrong. I do like the High School Musical movies, mainly for some of the songs. Okay, only like a few of the songs. I know it's been so long since I watched it, but Glee was just a show that I went into and I wasn't expecting to enjoy it at all. I put on the first episode and I was like, I am going to hate this. I am so going to hate. And by the end of the show, I've been brought to tears at least 4 times. One for an entire episode. And I won't say which episode because if you guys haven't seen the episode, I'll just say this. It's in one of the last 2 seasons. I won't say which season, but you'll know what episode it is when you get there. Just because it hits you so hard and like it got me multiple times. Like I watched the episode twice because at one point I was just like, I'm not ready to move on yet. I need to watch the episode again because like it was like one of those feelings. I was just like, I wish I was reacting to this show the way that I was reacting to Red versus Blue. Because there are so many fun moments, so many stupid ones too. But altogether, it's a really fun show to watch. So give it a chance if you haven't. All 6 seasons are on Netflix. Now, obviously, not everyone's going to like it. Not everyone's going to think this is a fun show. A lot of people are going to think it's stupid. And yeah, it can be pretty stupid, but it can also be really smart sometimes too. All right, the next show I'm going to talk about, I don't even know what I have to say about this show. Practically everyone and their mother has seen this show. But just a little bit of background on me. I grew up in a Christian house with a mother who really did not like that kind of talk in the house, and especially didn't want me watching it. So out of respect to her, until I finally moved out, I never watched the show. And that was South Park. That's right, guys. Until the pandemic hit, I had never, ever, ever watched South Park. Now, well, that's not entirely true. I tried to watch the first episode in 2016 or 2017. I couldn't remember which year it was. But I remember watching the first episode and just being like, I can't get into this. And I eventually, I never picked it up until literally the pandemic started. I was like, I got nothing else to do. I've looked for so many things to watch and so many people love this. So I figured I'd give it a try. And I got to say, I love the show. I've seen every episode at least like 3 or 4 times at this point, mainly because I watched a lot of reruns due to the fact that after you watch so much stuff during the pandemic, you start watching reruns because you're just like, I've seen everything I want to see. Let's move on. Anyway, yeah, that's it for number 3, you guys. Now, this next show I'm going to talk about, again, is not one of those shows where I originally thought that I was going to get into it because it seemed very soap opera-ish, but there was also a very big, like, interesting, like, little hook to this show, and it's called Dead to Me. If you guys have not heard of it, Dead to Me is a series that's on Netflix and is currently only has 2 seasons out, but I know that a 3rd season is coming, so I am very excited about that. And you know what? I'm going to throw 2 more shows in here because I just realized that I didn't even talk about them, and I never even put them in the list, and I love them so much. I'm so upset that I completely forgot. I'm going to say these names before I forget about them because, like, literally the second one escaped my mind a second ago, even though I just thought of it. But those 2 shows were Umbrella Academy and Stranger Things. I'll talk about those later. They weren't on my original list, but I will talk about them. All right, next one on the list is a show that unfortunately only has 1 season, but I would very much like it if we could all like push Netflix for a 2nd season, because if Young Justice has taught us anything, is that when we on the internet complain and beg enough, we just might get that extra season when we want it. So, and that is a show called Daybreak. Now, I'm not the biggest into zombie shows aside from stuff like The Walking Dead, and going into Daybreak, it is a zombie apocalypse show, guys. But it's done in a way that is so fun. I don't see how anyone could hate this show. Now I'm going to say the first episode, not the best pilot episode. You got to get past that first episode, you guys. I promise you. You get past that first episode, and the rest of the show is just incredibly fun. And I am still so upset that there's not a 2nd season. And when you guys see the finale, you'll see why. Running out of breath here, guys. That's 5 of them. Now, number 4, a show that I just finished watching 2 months ago, but that is Preacher. Now, if you guys have never seen or heard of Preacher, it is an AMC show that has 4 seasons, and the show has been concluded. So if you want to go find all 4 seasons, you can. They are all available to watch. I don't know if they're free to watch. I was renting DVDs to watch them, so yeah, perks of a public library. But Preacher is one of those really fun shows. Not for kids. I'll say that right now. It's not for kids. There's a lot, and if you're of a religious background, this might not be the show for you. And I say that because some people really don't like ideas that are put in there, and because of what I know happens in said show, I say that it's like, go in there with a sort of open mind and try to keep in the whole, it's a show, it's meant for entertainment. But if you're real heavy into, really religious stuff and you really don't want to see this kind of stuff, I recommend staying away from it. But anyway, let's move on to the next one. Now, I know that just about everyone has seen this show. I can't go... there were so many years I couldn't go without hearing about this show. Okay, so many years, and I got sick of it at one point. But then I sat down and I watched it. Game of Thrones. Wow. Look, guys, I'm not even going to go into Game of Thrones because I know there are some people on my channel who have never seen it and won't see it until they're old enough to have an HBO subscription or they find the DVDs hidden in their parents' basement because that's where they put them so the kids wouldn't find them because of all the stuff that's in them. Guys, seriously, if you have kids, don't let them watch this show under any circumstances. Game of Thrones is... I don't even need to go into the whole why Game of Thrones is rated the way it is. If anyone knows anything about Game of Thrones, I mean, anything, even just one scene, you know why it's rated the way it is. But it was just such a fun show. It was so epic. So many the one episode that everyone loved, and I'm just going to say it, season 8, that one episode that, man, my heart was thumping like the whole time because I was like, how are they going to come back from this? Because that episode, and I was like, we're only halfway through the season. Halfway. How are they going to come back from this shit? And with that said, I know there's so many people right now who are just like, what the fuck is he talking about? Because we've seen how this guy reacts on his channel, and we might want to know. because you guys see how I overreact to everything. All right, we got 3 shows left on the original list, and number 7 is Shameless. Or is that number 8? That's number 8. Number 7 was Game of Thrones. Number 8 is Shameless. Again, a show where I really did not think I was going to get into it, but I actually really did. It is a very slice of life show. Again, it is not for children. So much language, so much nudity, so much drug use. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that goes on in this show. Not good for, like I said at the beginning of the video, like pretty much no show on this list is meant for kids. Even teenagers are a bit iffy for some of them. But Shameless, like without getting into it, it was just such a fun show. The show actually just concluded with season 11. It was definitely an experience and a show that I would definitely love to go back and watch again because it is such a fun show just to watch. I feel like I've said that about every show on here, is that it's a fun show to watch. The next 2 on my list are not fun shows per se. Well, one of them is. The other one... Okay, so this one I'm going to talk about first. Evil. That's literally the title of the show, guys. It's called Evil. Now, this show is on Paramount Plus, if you guys have an account, and season 2 just started. But Evil is sort of this another religious show where it's like people claiming they're possessed when something else could be at work. Now, what I love about this show, without spoiling anything, is that the show really makes you wonder whether or not something supernatural is involved in all the events going down. Like, anything could be, like, it could be a technical thing, it could be a psychological thing, someone could be faking it. I mean, there's so many ways that it could go down. And then there's the thing that everyone keeps waiting for, the confirmation that the supernatural is real, but the show does it in such a smart way. They never reveal it. So that's what I really, really like, is that they keep it so secret and just keep you second guessing every time. And that's what I really love about this show, because it just gives me a sort of Psych vibe sometimes. If you guys have never seen Psych, it's an awesome show. Go look it up. It's on Amazon Prime. I know that much at least. But it's an awesome show. I'm not talking about shows I watched years ago. I'm talking about shows I watched during the pandemic. Okay. But Evil, if you guys haven't seen it, again, TVMA, a lot of religious stuff in there. So if you're really not into that stuff, please stay away, because you're probably not going to like it. Now, if you're kind of like me, you're into religious stuff and you don't really care when they start doing stuff like this on TV, go ahead and watch it. It's a really fun show. Fun show count. Do I need to have a shot count for every last one of my videos? Especially when I say it's a really fun show. Especially when videos like this. Last show on this list, the original list before I talk about Umbrella Academy and Stranger Things, is Dexter. Not Dexter's Laboratory. No, I am talking about the Showtime original Dexter. Guys, I never thought I would get into a show about a serial killer who, I'm not even going to spoil the good stuff, because Dexter was that show when I started watching it, I did not want to stop. I was obsessed. Now, I kind of related a lot of what was going on in Dexter with a lot of other media I'd seen over the years, but the main character was obviously my favorite part, because I've never seen a show take a character from the point that Dexter starts in and progress his character as well as they did. Like, you take a look at season 1 Dexter compared to season 2, 3, 4, and up, all the way to season 8. And I gotta say, the character growth is phenomenal and is one of my favorite things to watch about the show. So if you guys haven't seen Dexter, seriously, give it a watch. It's on Netflix. It is so worth your time. Trust me. Again, not for kids, blah, blah, blah. Okay. That's the 10, guys. Those are the 10 shows I originally wanted to talk about. Now, the 2 shows that I thought of on the key, because I was just like, I really wish I had put those in the list, but I don't have a pen on me to write things down on my paper. So I'm just going to continue on. let's turn this into the top 12, I guess, because Stranger Things. Who hasn't seen Stranger Things at this point? Except for you, Jock. If you're watching this video, go watch Stranger Things, man. I'm literally just giving my friend shit for not seeing Stranger Things. I don't know if he hasn't seen Stranger Things or not yet. The only time I ever heard him say that he didn't watch Stranger Things was during his Ruby reaction video, the very first one. But yeah, Stranger Things is a really fun show. It's one of those, like, I just don't know how to describe it. It's like this epic, awesome tale that is just filled with nostalgia, but at the same time, everything still feels so new. I really, really love all the darkness in it because it's like one of the coolest things ever. And then, of course, there's Umbrella Academy. If you guys know me, you know I am a sucker for superhero shows. Okay, because you all know I loved Arrow. I loved Flash. I fell out of Supergirl. DC Legends of Tomorrow lost me as well. Literally, Arrow and Flash was the only thing I was watching during the pandemic, you know. But Arrow's over now, and I haven't seen any of season 7 of Flash. Which, if you guys are wondering, yes, I do still watch the show because, you know, I still like the show, obviously. But I just, I don't have the time nor really, I don't want to say not the passion, but like the incentive to continue talking about them on the channel, which I don't know. If you guys want me to start talking about Arrow and Flash again, you know, I'll go back and I'll rewatch both shows. Hell, I'll even give Supergirl another try, maybe. Because from what okay, I'm not going to lie, season 2 was where they lost me because they took out Cat Grant in the very first episode. I was not happy about that because she was my favorite character, and I immediately lost interest in the show. But I might go back to it, give it another try. Don't hammer me in the comments, guys, being like, give it another try, give it another try. Season 4, Season 5, Season 3, they're so good. Guys, don't hammer me in the comments on you know, what to watch. If I watch it, I'll watch it. But yeah, Umbrella Academy, I did not know what to expect going into that show. But I gotta say, both seasons had me greatly surprised. I love all the characters. My personal favorite being number 5, and he's everyone's favorite character. Who am I kidding? 5 is everyone's favorite character. And funnily enough, 5 is just my favorite number in general. Like, not even relevant to the entire list at all, but just kind of a fun little thing for me to be like, oh, 5 is my favorite character and my favorite numbers. But anyway, you guys, that is the list. Did you guys have 10 shows that you watched during the pandemic that, you know, kept you from losing your sanity for a good couple of days until you finally binged the hell out of it and then you had nothing left to watch? I feel like that was everyone during the pandemic. Like, everyone. Well, anyway, you guys, I think that's going to do it for this video. This is longer than the last video, but I did keep it mainly to the list. And I had this list in my head and I wanted to talk about it because, you know, the pandemic sucked for everyone involved. And I feel like this is the one thing that everyone did during the pandemic when they were staying at home is they just put on Netflix and watched whatever they could find. Put on whatever streaming service they could and watch whatever they could find. And you know what? Just for the hell of it, one last show. Because I want a second season of this. And it looks like there might be a second season. It looks like it's making a comeback. I'm not entirely sure. I really hope so. But that is Tron Uprising, guys. I love Tron Uprising. I watched it once back in 2013. But I completely forgot about the show until I think about a month or 2 before the pandemic actually hit. And then I binge watched all 19 episodes. If you guys haven't seen it, check it out. It's so awesome. I'm still so mad that there's no second season. But here's what I think. I want to say it, but it's best to save it for another video. It is. It's just best to save it for another video. I wish I could talk about it right now. I really want to. But that's it for today, you guys. I've been Kendrick, as always, people. Have an awesome day. Peace out. Be sure to hit that like button and smash that subscribe button. And I will catch you guys next time. Peace.